powered by Riverside.
Hello. Welcome back
Hello.
to another great episode of Live from the Bench.
I'm from the bench.
It is I, GQ, and I'm joined by Boulevard. In today's episode, we will discuss the smear campaign of Justin Fields.
They've definitely turned it off because of your voice. Like, who the hell is this guy? What accent is that? That's offensive. I'm a millennial. That's offensive.
Yeah. So Justin Fields,
Right,
who got out of Chicago and joined the Pittsburgh Steelers. He's the future of the Steelers, and I'm all for it because I feel like somebody in the Bears organization thinks it's okay to defame my boy Justin Fields. And you know what? It's about time somebody got his back. And guess what? It just so happened to be the brothers who got their back, you know? So today, I feel like you have more insight on this situation. So I feel like you might have a little bit more insight. So today, Boulevard will take the lead.
Yeah. Get ready, guys. I'm on my conspiracy theory bullshit. Okay. So, we all remember last season, past 3 seasons, Justin Fields. Showed a lot of promise coming out of college. It's kind of has not lived up to expectations given his draft pick and all that shit. Okay. So, after 3 years in Chicago, he is now a Pittsburgh Steeler. Yeah. Okay. No. Shit. All right, here we go. I'm going to prove to you today that it's a smear campaign. That this is all designed to make Justin Fields the bad guy, really the fall guy for the past 13 years or so of bullshit in Chicago. Okay? That's what we're going to do. So follow me. I've done a lot of research, but I'm not going to be too long-winded about it. I'm just going to hit you with facts and proof of facts and all that good shit. Okay. He's left Chicago. There's been nothing but reports about how he's terrible, that he was uncoachable, how he didn't listen to teammates and all of this. But how come this never was anything out there before that? All the bullshit with Kyler Murray, for example, has been front and center in the media the entire time. We've been paying attention to the situation in Chicago. We all know that he hasn't lived up to expectations, but where was all this news before? We're constantly defending Justin Fields. So why didn't they speak to him about it? Why didn't they make an effort about this? Because it doesn't seem like he was very well coached on the field. And it doesn't seem like the people that were supposed to, buy the groceries did not buy quality snacks. They didn't give him the best toys to play with. They gave him one toy to play with over 3 years. Over the same amount of time, they gave him, I believe, 3 coordinators and 2 head coaches, one of which was a defensive guy. So they didn't give him much to help him up here with his eyes and his brain. They didn't give him much to help out there with his arm. They didn't give him much in front of him to block. You go look at who he was in college, and it's not the same player. I don't necessarily think it was all on Fields like they want it to be, because I looked at the numbers and what's this, 2013? Since 2013, the Bears have had one winning season since 2013. That is 1, 2, 3, 4 head coaches. Okay. That's 1, 2, 3, 4 different leaders at passing. That's 1, 2, 3, 4 different leaders in rushing. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 different leaders at receiver. That's a lot of fucking inconsistency. Okay, we got since 2013, 2 playoff berths, lost in a wild card both rounds. Okay? Offensively, they never finished. They finished once higher than 10th in points scored over that time span. They never finished higher than 15th in yards over that span. Offensively, defensively, there was a year where they had a top number 1 defense in points allowed and number 3 in yards allowed. Okay, so that's a solid team. That team went 12-4. That was the first year with Matt Nagy, the first year with Khalil Mack. Okay, fluke, because the rest of it was all downhill. It's not Fields' thought. It's the people upstairs responsible for bringing in the talent. The people responsible for hiring the coaches responsible for developing the talent. You're not going to sit there and say, oh, yeah, he didn't listen to this guy or he didn't listen to that guy. Those guys were just there to be veterans. They were there for a paycheck. They were there to get their reps in too. They wasn't there to raise this guy. The coaches were there to raise this guy. They didn't do it. They failed. They couldn't even keep the same person in the position for 3 fucking years in a row, 2 years in a row. They couldn't even do that much. So how could he be the total fall guy? Like all of this is his fault. But I haven't seen any of these coaches outside of that first year of Nagy be successful anyway. Like they were as bad defensively for most of those years as they were offensively most of those years. So if you never had an offense in place, how do you expect any quarterback to succeed? So notice all of this happens after they let him go, bring in their shiny new toy and give him a bunch of weapons. Now that other guy, it's all him. Let's make him look like the fall guy. See, we try to help our talent. We try to help our star QBs. If you can't see that, then you're just not trying to see it. Hey, it's a bad roster. It's bad management. They've had 2 division finishes higher than second since 2013. Okay? That ain't all Fields. They've had multiple general managers over that time. Okay? This is bad leadership. They can't build a staff that can even develop a culture. But they're going to throw a whole offense together and just do it on the fly now. It's not going to work. It might look nice on paper, but it's not going to work. Okay? All it takes is one ego to get out of whack. Somebody did not get enough targets in a game. Somebody not get enough handoffs in a game. Caleb Williams gets a nail broken. All it takes is one thing to light the fuse and something like that where there's no leadership. It's not going to work. And you're going to turn it around and you're going to blame Caleb Williams for it. No, don't repeat the cycle. That's all I'm sitting here trying to say. Like, if you can't see that this is just a way of business in Chicago, you can't put it all on Fields like they're trying to put it all on Fields. I probably should have just dragged this out a little longer because, I don't know. What do you think?
Oh, I mean, I agree with you 100%. And one of the things that's been bugging me is like, because when they say things like when shit like this is going down, and I've been saying this for a while. For one, I'm not a fan of Eberflus because if you know what you have at quarterback, why not run your system through him instead of trying to force him to be something that you're not? We know that Justin Fields is not a pocket passer. Stop trying to make him the quarterback you had in Indianapolis. Stop trying to force that because he's not going to be that.
No.
Run the system through him. You saw how the Philadelphia Eagles took a guy like Jalen Hurts and said, oh, we're not going to run what we ran with Carson Wentz. We're not going to run what we had with Nick Foles. We're going to run the system through him. And that's how we find success. They got in the Super Bowl, figured that shit out. Boom. Eberflus, you're not cutting it. And then Ryan Poles. My thing with Ryan Poles is like, you couldn't cut it as an offensive lineman in this league. you couldn't evaluate yourself enough to develop your own self as a talent. We expect to be able to have any credit as a GM, as an offensive lineman. You were a failed offensive lineman. You got cut in Chicago.
Can you remember the last 4 quarterbacks to lead the Bears? Like to lead
yes,
the Bears?
We got Jay Cutler, Mitchell Trubisky, with Justin Fields, and what, Kyle Orton maybe?
Matt Barkley.
Jesus, I didn't even know he played there.
Here's the running backs. I mean, the leaders in rushing since 2013. Matt Forte, Jordan Howard, David Montgomery, Justin Fields the last 2 years.
Justin Fields the last 2 years.
Yes. Receiver. His leading receiver last year, DJ Moore. Year before that, Cole Kmet. Year before that, Darnell Mooney. They haven't given him anything.
And that's where I was getting at, because a guy who couldn't cut it as an offensive lineman in this league. And this is the thing. I hate offensive linemen who suck and then they try to go and tell you they know football. Because what's that guy? The one that's over at EA Sports? Clint Oldenburg. Remember Clint Oldenburg? Yeah. He failed in Washington, went over to Madden, to EA Sports, and was like, I'm going to be the new developer for Madden. And you're failing at that. You're failing at that now. Stop this shit. Go try to be an offensive line assistant. Like, go work for Stoutland.
Right, go ahead. Go. I mean, but yeah, that falls into my whole thing about being a bad player turned coach anyway.
And it bothers me that you can, like, you horribly suck. And I it's this thing about when you come into a league, because Matt Nagy did the same thing when he drafted Justin Fields in the top 5, I believe, drafted Justin Fields and then sat him behind Mitchell Trubisky, who was ass. Everybody knows that. There is no denying that Mitchell Trubisky is ass. You sat him. Matt Nagy was such a horrible decision maker that he couldn't figure out whether or not to start him. And then by the time he decided to put him in the game, it was already too late for them to make anything of the season. These coaches, these GMs, they're failing players, and that's exactly what they did in Chicago. You're blaming him for the lack of development that he may have had, but you didn't give him anything to develop him. And let's just talk about this. Nick Foles, we're Eagles fans. Nick Foles led our team to a Super Bowl, the only Super Bowl. And I'm willing to sit here and tell you this right now. Nick Foles is not the kind of quarterback that you want to lead anybody. He can't develop a shoestring. And I'm sorry. Big Dick Nick is probably going to go down in history for Philadelphia because he gave us the ring that we had been looking for our entire existence. But to this day, to sit here and say that Nick Foles went out there and tried to develop Justin Fields, and Justin Fields was like, I'm not interested in anything you have to say. Now, let's talk about it, because we're going to talk about it. You bring a guy in who was a career backup, only got to start because Michael Vick got injured. Then, when he finally got a chance to go over to, Jacksonville to start, he didn't do it. He couldn't cut it. They let him go immediately. He had to come back to Philly. I think he spent some time in Arizona as well. I'm not sure. Or Kansas City. But not important. You brought this guy in who failed everywhere but Philly. That means he's a true system quarterback. That means he's only going to be able to thrive in this system. So, if he's only able to thrive in this system, why bring him to your organization that doesn't run the same system that he thrives in and be able to try to develop somebody when he's nothing like him? You can't develop me if you don't play like me. You're trying to bring Nick Foles in here to teach me to be the type of quarterback that I'm not. I can't be Nick Foles. I can't be Tom Brady. I can't be Kyle Orton, Jeff, or anybody. I can't be those guys. I'm me. If you want somebody to come and develop me, bring me Michael Vick. Bring me a guy like Michael Vick. Michael Vick can develop who Justin Fields is. Now you got Justin Fields behind Russell Wilson. Guess what? I think Russell can probably teach Justin Fields a little bit more than Nick Foles could have. What is it that Nick Foles is going to teach you?
Not much.
The RPO? He don't need that. Justin Fields knows what his skill set is. If you're a head coach, Chris Eberflus, sit your ass down, rewrite your whole book, and build around your team. Why is it that it took you guys waiting till Justin Fields left to think, oh yeah, let me get him some weapons. Let me get some weapons. And you only did that because the guy that you drafted didn't want to play for you. You did that just to appease him. Somebody who didn't want to play for you. Somebody who disrespected your organization by saying, I'm not playing for you. I'll go back in college before I decide to play for you. And you sit there and you still want to roll out the red carpet for the guy. That bothers me. And and what's crazy to me is that Justin Fields hasn't made a comment. I understand. It's water under the bridge for him. But some people say things like, don't rock the boat. Fuck that. You want to sit here and tell me to rock the boat, but you're trying to sink the boat and then throw it on top of me. That's what they're doing to Justin Fields. Like, you can't sink the boat and then say it's Justin Fields' fault. Because guess what? This is a sinking ship.
135 sacks in 51 games for Justin Fields. 135 sacks in 51 games. That's ridiculous.
It's so sad because you're not doing anything to make him better. It took you guys for Philadelphia to get DeAndre Swift into DeAndre Swift mode. Now you guys think that you can do something with him. I hope to God so. Keenan Allen, who can't stay healthy. You think that maybe just hope to God that you can do something, because if you guys can't do anything with Caleb Williams, if your team does not win 7 games, 8 games, 9 games, 10 games, because that's basically what Justin Fields has been giving you. Wait a minute, because last season I'm pretty sure they won at least 8 games. They were competitive at the end of the game when they start realizing, let's play to Justin Fields' strength. You start seeing DJ Moore come alive. You saw that. That's the first time Justin Fields had a dominant wide receiver on the outside. Somebody that can actually go up and get it. Somebody that can actually compete for the ball. And now y'all want to say, we gave him everything he needed. Y'all didn't give him shit. What y'all gave him?
DJ Moore and a bag of chips. That's all.
Mm-hmm. Right. What y'all gave him was wet cardboard and told him to go out there and build a fucking house. Y'all didn't give him anything. So what you expect? You think you're going to give? You're going to go out there. You got Keenan Allen. You got DeAndre Swift. And now you drafted Caleb Williams. Now what happens if Caleb Williams doesn't perform?
Karma happens.
I think the Chicago organization needs to take that hammer, and they need to take that hammer because the damage is already done. You take that hammer, you put the hammer down.
It's a bad culture. It's a bad culture.
Eberflus got to go, and then
there's mold.
And I demand, and I truly feel as though Eberflus, Ryan Poles, and anybody else in that organization needs to apologize. They needs to apologize, and whoever came out there and put the bullshit comment that Nick Foles said that Justin Fields wasn't interested, I want you to make an apology, because these sources that come out there and say these things, that's defamation. And if Justin Fields wanted to, I will file defamation suits. I'm a big fan of. I will sue the shit out of you. But
all right, this is the sort of bullshit that they put out there to degrade this man. This is a quote which was called out by an anonymous coach from his time in the Windy City. Quote: "He'd be great single wing quarterback if that was still around. Watch his eyes. He tries to see the whole thing and doesn't see anything. His eyes are all over the place, and it's really hard to watch. It's just bad football." After he left, after they failed to coach him out of it. Okay, that's one. This is about him, Andy Dalton, and Nick Foles in 2021. They never were together. It was always Andy and Nick walking side by side, and Justin always 15 yards behind them. The source told Dunn there were several arguments amongst the QBs. Once per one source, Foles was trying to teach something in the QB room to Fields. And turning upon the rookie, realized Fields wasn't even paying attention. At that point, Foles was done trying to play mentor. The two cannot stand each other. Bull fucking shit. You have no fucking source. And I also want to point out that this is all the same person reporting these sources. I'm not going to go after him. That's another day. I don't know that man. But I am researching you now, Tyler Dunn. You're on my radar.
What's crazy to me is he's saying that Nick Foles turned around. Were you in the room? That's my first question. Were you in the room?
Source. You have no damn source. Your source is your thumb up ass. Because all you're coming up with
is trying to drum up some drama. And this is where I asked the question. Were you in the room? How can you make any assessment of what? Because unless Nick Foles came out and said this, in which I honestly just doubt that Nick Foles said any of this, your source is bullshit. And I have to say this. You can't make an assessment of where Justin Hill's head was at, or what he was doing. And this whole, he was always 15 yards behind Nick Foles or Andy Dalton. What? First of all, Andy Dalton and Nick Foles are both older. And if anybody should be mentoring Justin Fields, it shouldn't be Nick Foles. You put somebody like Andy Dalton, he should be mentoring. Nick Foles can't teach Andy Dalton a lick of shit. You're talking about Nick Foles was trying to mentor the QB room. Andy Dalton is way more of a veteran than Nick Foles. So you want to sit there and chuck this bullshit up that Nick Foles was teaching the QB room? He's not even the senior most veteran in the room. And you want to talk about Nick Foles hasn't started more games than Andy Dalton. Andy Dalton is the red fucking rocket. Nick Foles is a one-hitter quitter. He thrived under a fucking RPO system that nobody else could thrive under because it was just his system. The system he fit. The only system that he fit. Nowhere else. He couldn't do it anywhere else. And you mean to sit here and tell me that Nick Foles was the one teaching the room? Bullshit. Tyler Dunn, shut the fuck up. Because I will go at, I don't need to know you. I don't need to know shit about you to go at your neck. You got a source? Show me your fucking source. Because you sitting here, this is the National Football League. You talking about you got an anonymous source.
Either he full of shit or he got an anonymous source unless you lying. So yeah, you just lying out his ass.
Yeah, there's no such thing as an anonymous source in the NFL. Unless somebody committing a crime, there shouldn't be any anonymous sources. There's no such thing as anonymous sources. Either somebody said it, or you're making it up. You're trying to drum up some drama.
You know how you know that there's no source? Because they'll just say a source. Otherwise, they'll say who the fuck it is.
Exactly.
They'll actually say who it is half the damn time. But otherwise, like, sources say that I just pulled my thumb out of my ass and I can smell some poop.
I remember, and it happens so much in the sports media. Like a few years ago, a play-by-play commentator was talking about a player. It was like, yeah, he was homeless, used to sleep on the benches, on bus stop benches. And that player responded, and after the game, he said, I ain't never sleep on a bench. Where you get that bullshit from? Mm-hmm. And it's just like, why is it that people have to make shit up for a story? You're like, what you're doing is ruining every ounce of credibility that you have. And I wouldn't allow you in my room again. Because just so happened, let's just find out, right, that Ryan Poles and Eberflus never said any of these things. What if none of them, they have no alignment whatsoever to Tyler Dunn, right?
Yeah.
Now, you're making my organization look bad because you're making it seem like we completely gave up on Justin Fields, which they did. They did give up on Justin Fields, so they shouldn't have traded him.
Yeah, they never gave him a real chance.
Yeah, they never gave him a chance.
They tried to give him a chance to be the fucking hero. Like they had.
But if they aren't out here trying to tarnish him by saying that he wasn't good in their system. He just didn't fit their system. That's basically they weren't willing to change their system. They weren't willing to. Like he probably would have thrived under a Cliff Kingsbury, maybe. I don't know. Just somebody else. But if this was to happen that Ryan Poles and Eberflus aren't aligned,
I'm good. What happened?
What just happened there?
I think I missed it.
Can you hear me there?
I hear you. You're frozen now.
Yeah.
Right.
Oh well. You can hear me though.
Yeah, continue.
Yeah. If it just so happened that Eberflus and Ryan Poles aren't aligned with Tyler Dunn,
right?
They shouldn't allow this man back into their room. He's not allowed into the media room. Just stay away, because you're staying now. It's just it has to be some sense or some journalistic integrity that some people have, because I feel as though when you're drumming it up for drama, for the sake of drama, for the sake of a story, I think that's where you have to draw the line, because some people are basically they're what's the word I'm looking for? I can't think of the word, but they're just bad for the league. They're bad for the image of any organization, let alone one team.
Right. Speaking of images, yours is pretty funky right now. You're
like, I believe it.
But yeah, all right. I'm gonna prove my point. I mean, it's a loose way to prove it, but I'm at least going to prove that this man was a much better quarterback than what the opportunity he was given. Okay? I'm going to go to his college stats, just to keep it simple. Okay? I have a report here that says from PFF.com that, quote, Justin Fields was the most accurate quarterback in the PFF college football era. Granted, this was up to when he was drafted, but, and I really don't know how long that is, but I mean, that does count for something. Okay, because he was a much more accurate quarterback than he ever has shown to be in the pros. And that's not something that usually just disappears from what I understand. You don't lose accuracy. Shout out to Kyler Murray. So, according to PFF, his completion percentage over expected was 0.12. That's ahead of Baker Mayfield, Mac Jones, Joe Burrow, Kyler Murray, Tua, Zach Wilson, Mitch Trubisky, Trey Lance, Marcus Mariota, Sam Darnold, Trevor Lawrence, Deshaun Watkins, Dwayne Haskins, RIP, Jared Goff, Josh Allen, Patty Mahomes, Jameis Winston, Paxton Lynch, Justin Herbert, Josh Rosen, Lamar Jackson, and Danny Dimes. Okay? So clearly, that's good company. And I could get into other things, but it would be hard to explain without, needing to get into a whole trick show with the pictures and all of that. I'm not doing that. The point is, it was pretty clear coming out that he was more accurate in college than all of these other quarterbacks. I mean, Joe Burrow may have had a higher all-time percentage or something. Burrow had crazy numbers, though. But I'm going to break it down. Okay, his first year, he was at Georgia. He didn't get much time. He had 39 completions for 69%, 4 touchdowns and mop-up as a freshman, like a freshman. Okay? Now, 2019, he's a transfer and he moves to Ohio State. His first year at Ohio State. 14 games, 67% completion, 9.2 yards carry, 32, damn near 3,300 yards, 41 touchdowns, 3 interceptions. Okay, so this guy wasn't making these mistakes. It doesn't appear that he was getting smacked around either. So maybe he got a little trigger happy. With that said, now we're going to go to his junior year before he declared. He played 8 games. He completed 70% of his passes. Yards attempt, 9.3. 22 touchdowns, 6 interceptions. Okay? So his accuracy went up. His completion percentage went up. So he's not showing any signs of being an inaccurate quarterback that gets beat up at this point. He had weapons. He had opportunity because he had blocking. He had a scheme that he could play in. He had none of these things in Chicago. Okay? If you gave the man an honest chance, he would have been a star. I wish he could have had real leadership, real coaching. But he ended up in the swamp that is the Chicago Bears, I guess, organization. Top to bottom, it's a failure. I believe the owner, the person in charge of the damn team, is like 115 years old, some old lady. Like, come on, man. There's no leadership in this building. None. It's a shit show. And you can tell because it's been the same disaster since really forever. Let's go. Let's look at their team records. 2023, 7-10, 2022, 3-14, 2021, 6-11, 2020. There's no Justin Fields here. 8-8, 19, 8-8, 18, 12-4, 17, 5-11, 16, 3-13, 15, 6-10, 14, 5-11, 13, 8-8, 12, 10-6, 11, 8-8, 10, 11-5, 9, 7-9, 8. So guess how many fucking go ahead. Okay, so I went back pretty far. Guess how many wins they've got in the playoffs at this point?
I look like 4, maybe. That's just being generous.
5. Mm-hmm. And that's most of the century, all but like 5 years of the century. So
Jesus fucking Christ.
It's not a good organization. They have won the division four times since 2004. Wait, yeah. Okay, they won 2, 3, 4, 5 times this century. They finished first in their division in a century. Yeah, you see my point here. It ain't Justin Fields' fault. It's at the top, and it drips down. It's sewage coming from the pipes in the roof of the building, and it's dripping down all over everything. That's what's happening in Chicago. We're not going to here at the bench. We're not going to let you keep accusing Justin Fields of being the problem. He's not going to be your scapegoat. Chicago, you're a bad fucking organization. Okay, you're going to ruin this Caleb Williams kid just like you ruined everybody else. You're going to go in this season, and bad. I don't want to wish it on anybody, but I got a feeling the injury-prone players are going to be injured. Just a hunch. And then what are you going to do?
Yeah.
You're just feeding boy to the wolves again. Another quarterback you're feeding to the wolves. You're probably not even going to have Keenan Allen next season anyway. So what's going to happen after that? What's going to happen after that? Will you have DJ 2 years from now? How long are you going to have DJ Moore? Like, you're still going to go back to doing what the Bears do. Regardless of how shiny your new toys look, you're going to do what you do because organizations don't change until they change at the top.
Yeah.
You're done. Sorry, Caleb Williams. Paint your nails, whatever you want, your Hello Kitty phone, whatever. I'm beyond judging you for that. Now you just got to prove it on the field. Sorry you got a raw deal. Sorry you got a bad hand. These are the breaks when you're the best quarterback in the shitty draft. What you going to do? I don't know. That's like, I don't know how much time it's said, but I mean, I feel like anybody listening has probably come to the same conclusion that we've tried to make. It's not Justin Fields' fault. He tried. It gave him nothing to work with.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Speak your piece.
I think I've said everything I need to say. I expressed how I felt. And it's basically the same thing I've been saying for a long time. The same thing, you know, I have my feelings and I stand on those feelings that I have on certain people. Ryan Poles, you're not GM material. And you're proving exactly what I thought when you were hired, because I remember when you were hired as the GM and I was like, he used to be an offensive lineman and he was bad. And I remember that. And that right there is my feeling is like, if you're bad, I don't think you have no room to say I can develop you. You're not. And then when you look at a guy like Eberflus, who just completely looks like you can't command a room. You look like someone's weird uncle.
He is somebody's weird uncle. He's got to be.
And it's just like, and that matters. That you just look at somebody, they just like you have no leadership pedigree, and that's who you're going to be for the rest of your career. And like you were the offensive
Josh
coordinator
McDaniels
in
called.
Indianapolis, where Indianapolis couldn't win. Like I'm just not. Don't see the faith in you. I feel like the Bears probably would have been better off keeping Nagy. They
Right.
probably would have still to this day been better off than
Maybe.
with Nagy than when they hired you. But
Mhm.
again, this is what bad organizations do. They make bad calls and they hire bad people and put bad people in leadership positions. Like you look at
Put
Jacksonville.
it this way: under Nagy and Trubisky, 2 of the 3 seasons, they at least had a positive point differential. The
Yeah,
closest they've come is minus 19 with Eberflus.
right.
It was 137 in his first year and minus 137 his first year, minus 19 his second year. However, just want to point out, they scored 360 points last season. I mean, I don't know if that's a lot, but that seems like good. I guess that's over 20 a game, if I'm not mistaken. So it was only 326 the first year. But so both of those years, that first year was 463 points allowed. It's impossible to win in that situation if your defense is giving up that many points. That's a 3-14 team. There was a minus 19 the second year. They give up 379 points. That's still significantly more than they score. So, how can you win? They top 400 twice this decade. How can you win? Not surprisingly, those seasons was a division championship. What they won the NFC North, whatever. All right, I think I've made my point. I'm just been rambling now. Yeah. All right. You want to bring it home with anything?
I don't have anything new at the moment. If you don't, all I can say at this point is make sure you hit the like and subscribe button. And Boulevard has something. Huh?
I forgot the best part. Would you rather?
Oh.
Justin Fields or Jimmy Garoppolo?
Justin Fields.
Or Baker Mayfield?
Justin Fields.
Or Aiden O'Connell?
Justin Fields.
Or Bo Nix?
Justin Fields.
Or Spencer Rattler?
Justin Fields. I don't know what Spencer Rattler is right now.
Or Snoop Huntley?
Justin Fields.
Or Bryce Young?
Justin Fields. Bryce Young's not a quarterback.
Or Drake May?
Justin Fields.
Or Will Levis?
Justin Fields. Or
Danny Dimes?
Justin Fields.
Mic drop. I'm done. Hit the